down that heavy snow threat across sections of the Great Lakes region. Now let's look for some other areas when that snow will be at its peak and when that snow will begin to wind down. And we look at what's happening out there now. Mike Seidel really in the thick of things. Iowa, you are getting it right now. You've got lots of snow across the region. But take a look at that bright blue, or that darker blue shading, I should say. That's the really heavy snow that's coming down, that moderate to heavy snowfall. And that's exactly what will continue there over the next few hours, beginning to work through parts of northern Illinois into sections of Wisconsin here as we move into the late evening and overnight hours. So you can see by midnight, 1, 2 a.m. Now, by tomorrow morning, a lot of the snow winding down, and we're just looking at rain showers from southern parts of Michigan all the way down into the mid-south as we prepare for the next system, offering up perhaps more of an icy threat for some of these areas like Chicago into the end part of the week. But Winter Storm Ivy starting as snow here in Chicago as we move through the evening, then changing over to that rain-snow mix, even a little bit of freezing rain before rain takes over and we end with rain. So how much is actually still on the ground remains in question, as we're only looking at about 2 inches there in the city itself. Some higher totals as you head farther north, but remember that rain, or that freezing rain to rain, is going to limit how much snow actually you see out there during the day tomorrow. Snowfall to come across the area. This is, again, what's left to come. And we're thinking some of the heaviest amounts from eastern sections of Iowa all the way over into southern Wisconsin. That's where we could see those 5 to 8 inch totals with some localized higher spots. So keep that in mind. I think Iowa up into Wisconsin, they're going to be the bigger winners. We look at the Midwest, and snowfall has been fairly close to average here in Omaha. Des Moines, you're a little bit above by almost 2 inches, but we're down for the season in Madison and Milwaukee, nearly a foot below average when it comes to snowfall there in Milwaukee. And in Grand Rapids, how about over 2 feet below average for the year? Well, snowfall totals in Grand Rapids will add some. I'm not going to make up that deficit, but 5 to 6 inches possible there into portions of Michigan. Lansing, you're going to be right in that 2 to 3 inch range with lesser totals as you head down towards Detroit as you spend more time in the wet side. Mike?
All right, and then
problem. That is not a forecast we want to see. A lot of people, though, wonder what's the difference between those wintry precip types, the snow, the sleet, the freezing rain, and the rain. Well, it all has to do with the temperature throughout the atmosphere and the depth of the cold air primarily. So when you've got an atmosphere that from the cloud to the ground, it's generally above freezing, that's when you're going to get that rain forecast. However, when you've got a little shallow layer of cold air trapped at the surface, you get that freezing rain. Because remember, you've got the warm air above that cold air, so your precip is falling as raindrops, but you've got just enough cold air at the surface. A lot of times that raindrop can't actually freeze. It freezes on the surface once it hits those below freezing surfaces, whether it's a road, a bridge, a mailbox, your car, a tree. Sleet, there you've got a little bit of a deeper layer of cold air. So again, our raindrops are falling, but the depth of the cold air is enough that as that raindrop falls through it, the raindrop actually freezes. Sleet bounces around. Mike, we like that a lot better. Not great, but still like it better.
Wednesday's threat for dangerous thunderstorms.
Yeah, Wednesday, a more focused zone. The threat's really going to go up, we think, as we get into the day Thursday. But still, Wednesday, the threat is there. We're going to be watching communities across parts of Texas. There's our disturbance moving east. So there is that second system moving in as we head through the second half of the week. This one's going to tap into the Gulf of Mexico moisture. So no lack of moisture to work with. And again, tomorrow, the Wednesday threat focused over parts of Texas, getting close to the Louisiana area. But I think severe-wise, we're going to keep this into South and East Texas, Houston, Galveston, Victoria. I would say the east side of San Antonio, east side of Austin area. You guys right on that kind of precipice of the severe weather. Corpus Christi also in the threat zone. So we look at Wednesday, starting things up at 11 a.m. And you can see there's a few spotty showers out there, even some heavier showers, but things really ramp up. Even that southerly flow, you can very clearly make out as we get you to the evening hours. The scattered thunderstorms are out there. Doesn't look to be hugely widespread, but of course the storms that we get could be severe, and we could be looking at some heavy rain over periods of time. So even into Thursday morning, you can see the scattered showers, the scattered storms are still out there. So we're also also watching that flash flood danger tomorrow into early Thursday. Victoria, Austin to Houston, that corridor where we've got that southerly flow keeping things fairly steady over the area in terms of the showers and storms, all the way up into parts of western Arkansas. Possibility of flash flooding. So something to be aware of as we get into the day tomorrow and Thursday morning. Little Rock, Wednesday, we are expecting almost 2 inches of rain. Could see 1.5 inches on Thursday. So obviously with that two-day total in the 2 to 3 inch range, you can see why we're concerned about flash flooding. But then, Mark, we get into Thursday night, and things look to ramp up. Bummer music, right? You're like, well, if we're going to get it, let's keep it, right? There is going to be plenty of wintry weather with this. That cold air will produce the snow and also allow for the freezing rain to develop. That's the real trouble precip. When we talk about the wintry weather, yes, snow causes problems. Even rain causes problems on the roads, but there is nothing quite like freezing rain in terms of just wrecking travel across a region. So we're going to start things up Thursday very early in the morning. You can see it's generally rain with a little bit of freezing rain on the north side. But as we go late into Thursday and early Friday, now we begin to see more of that freezing rain developing. So the freezing rain is the pink color, and you can see it's developing across the Midwest from Kansas City over towards the Illinois-Indiana state line, really expanding as we get towards the mid-morning on Friday. So we're at New Year's Day. Now we've got freezing rain across central and northern Missouri, northern Illinois, northern Indiana, even over towards places like Detroit. So we've got a lot of big metro areas. I think as we get into the afternoon and evening, we'll begin to see that freezing rain give way to either snow or rain, depending on where you are, and the precip done by the time we head into Saturday morning for the most part. But ice amounts, when we talk about ice, all it takes is about 1/10 of an inch to be problematic on the road. So when we look at 1/10 of an inch or more, how confident is our forecast that we're going to be looking at that amount? High, from Kansas City to eastern Iowa to northern Illinois, over into parts of lower Michigan and northern Indiana. So high confidence that we are going to be looking at impactful amounts of ice. Mike, if you have any plans to be out there on the roads for any reason on Friday, time to start thinking about them. Maybe need to have to reevaluate those.
For sure. That's a tough look.
Break it down for you. Let's time some of these city forecasts out so you know when the snow is going to come to an end or when you want to go out and get a good picture of it, right? Right now, we've got the heaviest snow across sections of Iowa. So southern, eastern Iowa, where you see those deeper shades of blue, that's where the heavier snow is coming down, beginning to work through parts of northern Illinois as well. So those are areas that are also seeing that snow come down in earnest. Southern sections of Wisconsin, too. As we move towards the midnight hour, Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, extreme northern Illinois. Those are the areas where the snow will be falling most heavily. Farther to the south or closer to Chicago, you get that rain-snow mix, rain south of there. Chicago, you're actually going to change over to rain as we head into the morning hours of your Wednesday. We finish off the snow across Wisconsin by mid to late morning. And you can see by the time we get to late morning, 11 a.m., the only place we're dealing with snow is up there in northern parts of lower Michigan and also way down into parts of Oklahoma and Texas. It's generally a rain event at this point from Detroit down into parts of Arkansas. As we move into the late part of Wednesday, we're getting a break in places like Iowa and northern Illinois before the next round of wintry weather. Here's 6 o'clock on this afternoon. So Chicago, you're still in the thick of it with the snow. Don't get too excited about waking up to snow on the ground, because by late this evening, overnight, we'll see that rain transition to a rain-snow mix before we end with all rain. And rain is what's going to be coming down throughout the morning hours. So, Mike, I know not necessarily the forecast you want to see, but if you do have to get out on the roads, easier once all that snow is gone.
Yeah, once it's gone.
You know, we're talking about that possibility of the various wintry precip types when we look at our next system, from the snow to the sleet, the freezing rain, and the rain. But a lot of times we know the snow, we know the rain, and then everything in between gets a little fuzzy. Well, it all has to do with how deep the cold air is at the surface of the atmosphere. So throughout the atmosphere, we of course have varying temperatures, and up in the cloud you're going to have ice crystals. But if you've got warm air generally throughout the entire column, so above 32, those ice crystals melt and we see our precip fall as rain all the way down to the surface. So that's above 32 throughout the column. The problem problem is sometimes we can get some of that cold air, that sub-freezing air at the surface, particularly in some of those valley spots. Cold air is dense. It stays stuck at the surface. So you get a little area of cold air right at the surface. You've got generally warm air above it. You have raindrops falling. They're not going to freeze as they fall. There's not enough time. It's not deep enough, that column of air, and instead it freezes on contact with sleet. You have a deeper layer of cold air, Mike, so our raindrops falling through the warm air are able to freeze into little ice pellets, so they're not coating things with ice.
Yeah, it's the